What's up, Deep Divers? Thank you for joining me for another episode of Deep Dive Musings. We are going to dive into something that just happened today.
This is the Deep Dive with Adam Roa.
It's prompted me to come home immediately and start recording this podcast because moving our emotions through our bodies, moving the energy through us is the most important thing that I can think of in any sort of process that we might be going through. And what does that actually look like? That's what I want to talk about. And it was only 20 minutes ago. So it's very alive for me in this moment. Before I dive into that, I just want to remind you that my free book is fully available. It's out now. All you have to do is pay for the shipping. It's called Treat Yourself Like Someone You Love: 3 Tools to Make Self-Love Easier. And they are the 3 most effective action steps that you can take every day to increase your self-love and your self-worth and how much you're enjoying being you. So I encourage you to head over to adamroa.com. There's a link in my show notes and you can swipe that thing up. And if you want an added, bonus tool, I have You Are Who You've Been Looking For, the poem that went viral. I have that as an intimate meditation style offering that you could get. And also I have a self-love journal. Treat yourself like someone you love right across the front. Every time you pick it up, it's a reminder about why you're doing this. Why are you here? What can you do today to love yourself more? And so those are all available at adamroa.com, and they all tie into exactly what I want to talk about right now, which is how we can honor the process that we're in and allow it, and not just allow it, let's go even further than that, support it in helping us evolve and expand and grow. Because for me personally, I've been going through a breakup and have been pretty open about that. And that process has so many different waves to it. Like one moment or one day, I feel so incredibly empowered. I feel like, yeah, this is me as Adam Roa, excited to live my purpose fully out. And then in another moment, I'm wanting to cry and I feel lonely and feel like I miss this person who has been such a huge part of my life and bringing so much happiness to my life for a period of time. And so it's a back and forth thing. It's not consistent. It's not like, oh, every single day I feel this exact way. No, it's a interesting experience to not know exactly what each day will bring, right? And on a more like scientific level of what I think is going on here is, most of your reality, most of the bits of information are actually being filtered out of your experience. What I mean is, all of the things around you right now, the other sounds, the other sights, the other smells, those are being filtered out. What you're actually experiencing consciously is what your conscious mind is aware of based on what your unconscious mind has felt is important to kind of filter up and into your conscious awareness. And so the thing that I find most interesting about that is, what is your conscious mind saying is important? Right? What are you telling your unconscious mind that you want to see? And that's where setting intention is so powerful, right? Because with the intentions that you set, you are telling your unconscious mind with your conscious mind, hey, I want this. So filter reality to help me see this. And then also get an opportunity to see what the unconscious mind feels is important. And oftentimes, like what happened just 30 minutes ago is I'm driving down the street and I'm on my way to get some food, and I just have this like unease, this emotion in my body. I can feel it in my heart, and it's this heaviness and this loneliness that just came out of nowhere. right? Now, when I say came out of nowhere, I don't actually think that it came out of nowhere. I think that something triggered my experience at an unconscious level. I don't know what it was, right? It could have been maybe not even being consciously aware of it, but maybe someone was driving. I saw the same car that my previous partner used to drive, or maybe I heard someone's radio out unconsciously, could hear it, and it was playing a song that we used to love, or whatever it is, right? And so there's this unconscious thing that's being processed, and I don't know what sparks it, but I feel something all of a sudden, what feels like it's out of nowhere. And so what do I do in that scenario? Well, I drove for a little bit, and then finally I pulled over and I had a good cry. That's honestly what I did. I pulled over for maybe 5 to 10 minutes and I allowed myself to feel it, like truly feel it, and say, okay, something, my unconscious has said this is important. It filtered into my conscious awareness. And I could sit here and say, I don't want to be thinking about this. I don't want to feel this way. And instead, I realize if I've set an intention, and this is where intentional living is so magical, because I have this foundational belief that everything is happening for me, for the intention that I've set. And I think I spoke about this on one of my earlier podcasts recently, but like I have the intention of spending my life with someone who I raise a family with, right? That's an intention that I have. And I can feel that relationship as being fun and playful and expansive and just so full of devotion and love. And when I feel that, I know that I'm calling that in. And if I know that I'm calling that in, then I can trust that everything that's showing up, including this moment of unforeseen emotion that arose seemingly out of nowhere, that is happening for me on the path of this intention. And so I get to honor it and not resist it, not fight it. And maybe what that path looks like is there's just a lot of, sadness and heartbreak and things that want to be processed and moved through so that I can get to the place where it's not a part of my daily experience. And if it's not a part of my daily experience, all of a sudden I'm having more fun. I'm more magnetic. I'm a brighter light. And I am now much more likely to attract the person that is my partner that I'm calling in with my intention. And to be fair, like I don't even want a relationship right now. That's not even what I'm calling in, but the intention of that is one that I can trust I'm on that path, whether in a relationship or not, whether happy, sad, depressed, like whatever it is, it's happening for me. But where we get stuck sometimes is when we resist the emotional experience as thinking that it's not a part of that path. And when we resist it, we don't allow it to move through. It stagnates in our system. And so me pulling it over and just allowing myself 10 minutes to really cried out. And I yelled like twice. And then I was like, okay. It's not necessarily all gone, but in this moment, I feel better. And then I kept driving and I went and got food. And when I was in the heat of this several weeks ago, I was unable to sleep for more than like 4 or 5 hours. I would wake up and my head would be swirling. It's like, I feel like I just want a good night's sleep. But for whatever reason, I'd wake up and I'd be processing all this emotion. I'd wake up emotional. And for the first day or two, I really fought it. I was like, try and get back to sleep. And whenever we try to get to sleep, it doesn't seem to work. And so I finally realized, why am I fighting this? While I'm sleeping, there's so much moving and I'm waking up when it gets to the point that my unconscious mind is like, wake up, this needs to be processed. And so what do? I started stretching. At like 4 a.m, I would wake up and I'd stretch. And this was happening almost every day. I was waking up at between 3:30 and 5:30 a.m. and I would just stretch. Sometimes I would take a bath. I would go and go to the gym when it would open. But I recognized that there was something that wanted to move through me. There was energy in motion. And the best thing that I could do to support this process was to contribute to that movement. And when I was younger, I used to think that the way that we processed our emotional experience was through our mental state, by allowing ourselves to think it through, to get to an understanding, and then that understanding would provide the relief. And the truth is, what I've come to realize is that our emotional experiences are being thought about and processed and all that through the mental body, but they live in our physical body. That's why they're called feelings. We feel them. And when we resist the feeling that's arising in us naturally, it will stagnate in our system as energy. That energy will take form over time and can become illness, cancer, right? Disease, aches, pains, inflammation, all of these things that are the result of stagnant energy that builds up. And so I am doing my best to, as often as something arises in its natural state, whenever that happens, to let it be. Let it arise. Let it do its thing. And I get to create the space. And it's kind of, going back to this inner child. I've been thinking a lot about that and my inner child. It's getting back to that, okay, if my child felt sad all of a sudden, would I tell my child, you need to stop being sad right now? No, I would say, okay, why are you sad? All right, be sad. And if my inner child wanted to yell and scream, okay, let's find a space where that's okay to let it out. Right? Doing it in the middle of like a funeral or something may not be the place that I want the child to be yelling and screaming. And rather than say, you can't yell and scream, having that conversation. And if they need to, right? They need to, let me bring that child outside and find a space where they can yell and scream. And that's why, did I break down, cry, and scream and yell while driving through rush hour traffic? No, I pulled the car over. This is where the safety component comes in. Where do you feel safe to let the emotion through? Where do you feel safe to allow yourself to stretch and be? And the gym might be that space, a dance class, like wherever it is. I danced at sunset on the beach by myself when I was in Florida, letting it all out. And that space for me was so healing. And there were people watching me. There were people recording me dancing because I was going for it. And I felt safe to do that. But there was a time in my life where I wouldn't have, where I don't want people recording me dancing. I'd be self-conscious, etc. And if that's where you're at, great. Lock yourself in your room. Do whatever you need to create the safety, because we can only feel as deeply as we feel safe. The safety provides us the ability to go deep. And that is so crucial. It's a crucial piece to what you can feel, is that. How safe can I make it? If I lock myself into my room, if I have my music and a pillow to hit and whatever, and no one's home, how much safer do I feel? Or do I really feel safer being in like a yoga class surrounded by other people? Do I feel safer working with one-on-one with a coach or a facilitator or a therapist? Create your safety so that you can move the emotions through, and make sure that you're allowing your emotions through. That's the key piece. And I wanted to share it because only half an hour ago, I was on the side of the road crying in my car. But I feel way better now. And that's the thing. This is not a forever experience. I'm not going to be pulled out over on the side of the road crying for the rest of my life. I'm not even going to be upset necessarily about what I'm going through and the breakup I'm going through in even maybe a month from now. Who knows how long it will take? And all I know is the process speeds up, the process improves when we take our conscious effort and point it towards, I am allowing this to move. I am allowing this to be. And so that's what I do. And so can you. I want to remind you that always, in all ways, you are seen, you are heard, and you are loved. If this has resonated with you, if you know anyone who could benefit from this, please share it out, subscribe on iTunes, leave a review so that it works with the crazy algorithms and more people can find this message and they can start loving themselves more and dealing with whatever comes their way with as many tools as they possibly can have to be happy. Because we all deserve that.